Every time you do the dishes, or pay your bills on time, or talk to your overly concerned mother for more than 20 minutes, you're paying it forward to a much bigger prize. When you're lying on a budget beach in Cancun with an empty beer can an inch away from your head, and a lightly used tampon just a couple feet farther, you'll feel 10 times better than whatever turd social climber is getting rubbed down in the Bahamas. You know why? Because you earned that crappy beach. You worked towards that vacation, and you should be proud that you made it there all by yourself. No help from mom and dad. That beach weekend is all on you. You deserve to be chugging $4 margaritas in the sun for 12 hours. So do it. Just don't forget to wear sunscreen. And drink plenty of water. Speaking of drinking plenty of water, let's move on to the next essential of adulthood. Taking care of yourself, mind and body. This is something that took an enormous amount of time for me to understand. I used to dissociate food and health on an unhealthy level. Every time I went grocery shopping, I would throw all the leafy greens and papayas and chia seeds into my cart, only to have them rot on a shelf in my kitchen as I ate Oreos. Goddamn Oreos. They will be the death of me. I've since come to understand that I only have one body and one mind in this life, and I need to take care of both of them. Even though Oreos are vegan, I don't even want to know how that's possible. They will not fulfill your daily nutritional requirements. It's time to understand that you determine how your body and mind operate at any given time based on what you're fueling it with. I know that might sound crazy, but if you're eating triple-decker burgers with an avalanche of aioli oozing out the sides every day, you're going to die a deliciously young death. Sorry, it's true. There's no better time than right now to start taking care of yourself and understanding how food can affect your entire being. That being said, I'm still on my own journey toward being completely happy with my routine. So I'm not going to stand on my soapbox and make you feel like a terrible person for eating 90 grapefruits a day or whatever. I can't entirely remember what diet we're supposed to be mad about right now. What I can tell you is to do your research. Educate yourself on your diet and see if what you're eating is the best option for your body. We're in a day and age where mountains of research are at our disposal. Soak it in, even if some of it can be hard truths, like Oreos being both vegan and probably created through a satanic ritual. The fact that you're ingesting knowledge surrounding your daily intake is so important. I don't mean that you need to read every book obsessing over a plant-based diet, but it is a good idea to allow yourself to entertain ideas. Being completely closed off to a philosophy or lifestyle is not a very adulty thing to do. In fact, it's an incredibly childish way to look at the world. You might say, my grandfather has eaten the same meat and potato breakfast for the past 30 years, and he's as fit as a fiddle. Well, your grandfather is also intensely homophobic and doesn't understand why segregated bathrooms aren't still a thing. Being open-minded to ideas different from your current ideas is never a bad thing. You can entertain something without adhering to it. That is how we grow and learn. Remember when you were little and you wouldn't eat Brussels sprouts because your mom boiled them? Roast those bad boys with chili flakes, salt, and pepper. Add a spritz of lemon once they're out of the oven and bam! Why did you ever hate them in the first place? Because you weren't open to trying a new strategy. Essential number 3, and arguably the most important thing you need to take into adulthood, is openness. Being able to entertain new ideas, thoughts, or activities without immediately recoiling in terror is incredibly important to having a happy adulthood. This is a principle you can take with you throughout life, and it makes things so much more enjoyable. Being an easygoing person isn't about not caring what happens to you. It's about being able to let go of past assumptions and allow new experiences, even if they're foreign or scary. You need to start trusting yourself more. Trust in the fact that your judgment is good enough to allow different life paths without them being scary. Go on that 5-mile hike with an overly athletic friend. Yeah, you might get your ass kicked by nature, but at least you're willing to try. And who knows? You might end up loving a good romp through the wilderness. But when in doubt, do it for the Instagram. Your 20s aren't that scary after all. My boobs aren't yet sagging, and I'm not pulling gray hairs out. And I can see my late 20s operating a lot like my current life. I've been living on my own, making microwave mac and cheese like a boss. I've filed several tax returns, and I've considered tax evasion every time. I've packed up and transported my entire apartment without a moving service. I've taken at least 4 different people to the hospital, including myself. I adopted a cat off the streets of Crenshaw. I gave that cat to my brother less than a year later. The most important things I've learned in the last couple years all came from making mistakes and getting messy. Thanks, Miss Frizzle, for teaching me that lesson early on in life. I was a disaster so that you, dear reader, don't have to be as much of a disaster as I was.